Just carving another spoon with my Jacklaw. It's a Jacklaw bibby, Coca-Cola handles, thick yellow liners, and Trinity pins. Sorry, quad pins. Found a piece of silver birch yesterday, dropped down. The tree had come down, so I thought might as well make use of some of it. So I cut some off. Decided I'm going to make another spoon. As you can see, this was just one piece of silver birch. It was already in that shape, so I'm just working with what I've got, and hopefully it'll come out into a nice spoon. Some of these cutting techniques may look a little bit dangerous, but they're not. They're quite safe. Always keeping the wood between the knife and my fingers, and just taking off little pieces at a time. And once you get used to it, you can work quite close to your hands. The trick is never to get overconfident, because that's when mistakes happen. Remember, it's a blade. They're designed to cut, and they don't care if they cut blood, flesh, wood, anything. They will cut through it. So always be aware of that. Normally, it can probably take about 2 or 3 hours of work to get the spoon finished. What I'll do later, I'll get a crook knife and I'll hollow out the spoon area, finish up all the rough edges. It's reasonably straight. The rest of that I can straighten up with the bibby as I go along. So hopefully turn out to be a good knife, a good spoon. Well, after the washout yesterday, it's now time for a bit of breakfast. Just going to be very simple today. Just going to do some porridge. Find one of the old shavings from yesterday, it's not too wet. Yep, that's going. One. Two. By the way, that's the spoon from yesterday. Still got some more carving to do, a little bit more work, just playing about with a little idea for the end of the handle. Just using the click stand today. I knew there was going to be some wind, so I decided to use this because it comes with its own windshield. Well, here we are on the second day. The rain has eventually left off, but it's going to take a bit of drying out. Here's the sleeping system I've used. This is a 10-foot by 15-foot DD multicam tarp. And as you can see, I've used a couple of hiking poles just to lift up one side so that I can see out. I'll take you round for a better view of the hammock. Again, it's a DD frontline hammock. I've had to set up some drip lines to stop the rain dripping down. These have worked very well. Inside the hammock is a UGQ Bandit quilt, rated down to -6. So no problems with cold there. The other thing I've used is a Goal Zero micro lighthouse lamp. This is a downlighter lamp with 4 different settings, and it's a really useful torch at night. So there we are. As you can see, the tarp is going to take some drying out. Well, this was the table I was sitting at yesterday doing the carving, and as you can see, it became very, very wet. In the end, I had to abandon the idea because the rain was blowing in horizontally. The knife, the crook knife, everything was getting very wet. So I had to leave it and take shelter under the tarp, which gave a bit more protection when I pulled it down. Okay, well, it's a much better day today. I'll probably post some pictures, but yesterday it was absolutely horrendous. The wind and the rain were just horizontal, so I had to call it a day. So today I'm just going to be finishing off, dishing out the bowl, finishing off the handle, smoothing all that down, and I would think probably within the next hour maybe should have a decent working spoon. So I've got my crook knife. It's a Ben Orford crook knife, small one, right-handed, and it's very good for just taking out small pieces. Again, it may look like I'm cutting towards my thumb, but in actual fact all I'm doing is revolving the hook. The thumb is well out of the way. And as I said before, very useful tools, but at the end of the day, it's still a knife. Be careful how you use it. Do not get complacent with them because they will bite. That's not bad. go back on the handle. Still have a few little bits to sort out. I'm going to leave the shape. Still need to smooth the back, smooth a bit on the front, and just tidy up that a little bit. And hopefully that will do it. So we're just starting to smooth these. As I say, yesterday had a lot of rain, so when I finished, the tools were all wet, so I had to give them a good stropping and clean up the edges, and then I gave them a clean down and put some camellia oil on them to protect the blade. Being 01 steel, it does rust up fairly quickly if you don't look after it. You do have to keep turning the wood to make sure that you're following the grain. Otherwise you end up just lifting the grain and that tears into the wood. But with a little time, patience and practice, it's easy enough to get the hang of. You can feel rough spots. You just go through and just knock off the rough edges. There. As I say, keep turning it. Make sure you're cutting the grain and not across it. Right, that's looking quite a usable spoon. We'll take a little bit more. A little bit of a rough edge just here, which, as you can see, I'm taking off very, very small shavings. There we are. Right, well, I'll leave that for the moment. I'm going to have a cup of coffee now. This is my setup for my coffee. As you can see, I've got a jet boil, and there's my cup of coffee. I also got a 4-litre dromedary bag hanging up, so I don't have to go too far for my water. Right, well, thank you very much, and I will be seeing you hopefully a bit later. One thing I forgot to add, for those of you that haven't made spoons, it's not so much the outcome of it for me, it's just the relaxation of doing it. I find it very therapeutic to just sit there and chibble away at a bit of wood. For those of you that have never done it, you won't know what I mean. For those of you that have done it, you'll definitely know what I mean. It's very relaxing. If you've got anything going on up here, this will help sort it out. It's very therapeutic. Okay, thanks guys. Well guys, as the finished spoon, I've sanded it down. It's now ready to have some walnut oil put on it, just to seal it. I've deliberately left the bottom of the spoon roughish. It's quite smooth, it's just got edges, and I like that because it shows that it is homemade and just roughed out in the woods. And they're the tools I use to do it: the Jacklaw bibby and a Ben Orford crook knife. And I've had a lot of fun making it and a really relaxing time. Thank you for watching. Hi guys, well, back from the woods, as you've probably guessed. I've given the spoon its first coat of walnut oil, and as you can see, starting to take on quite a nice honey glow. Need another 3 or 4 coats and it'll be off to the woods with me. Now, as I said yesterday, I get a lot of relaxation from making the spoons. I don't make fancy spoons, I make functional spoons, because I know that in a couple of months they're going to be on the fire and I'll be busy whittling another one. That's just the way it goes. Now, it was suggested to me by a friend of mine, Sandy, from Jacklaw Knives. I went on a camp with him several months ago and he suggested that I start to make some YouTube videos. And at that time I didn't really want to, but I've decided to make some now. Thank you, Sandy. I've been camping most of my life since I was around 8 years old, so that's around 60 years. I was camping before the term bushcraft was even really heard of in this country. So I've had quite a bit of camping experience and I love camping in hammocks or tents. I do prefer hammocks because at my age, they're a lot easier to get in and out of. The carving techniques that I've used are techniques, a lot of them that I've learned from the Ben Orford site. Ben Orford has some terrific videos on how to carve safely, and I'd highly recommend having a look at some of these. They're very good and they work, and they're the techniques that I use pretty much all the time. And as you can see, still got all my fingers and thumbs. So thank you, Ben, obviously very good. Well, as I said, this is my first video and there will be mistakes on this. Some people may like it, some people may not, but I'm learning. I've only just started. So if you have any suggestions, please try to keep them constructive and leave them in the comments box down below. Anyway, look forward to seeing you all again with some more camping videos. Thanks. Take care, guys.